This video shows what's new in MemorialDESIGNER X5 version 1.25. First off, we will have open by number here. If you just click open by number, this works as normal. Say we want design number 3410 out of the book. We can go ahead and click open, and that will go and find the file in the classic collection. We see here Classic Collection 2010, and it's 3410. The new part of this is if you hold down Control while you click on the button, it now opens up Open by Control Number. And this allows you to have different settings that go to your own unique folder instead of just the Classic Collection catalog. So I have this set to go to my current work folder under MemorialDESIGNER. That's where I save everything that I'm currently working on. So if you had a file that you had saved in there of your own and you had the number for it that you knew, you could just type that in and it would open it up there. And those would be your own files. So that's one change there. The next change would be mirror objects. Let's say you had a design here, and let's go ahead and just bring in that panel. Okay, the old mirror objects would mirror everything off of 0 here and 0 here. So whatever you had on the left of 0, 0 would be mirrored to the right of 0, 0. Well, that worked okay, but if you had more than one design side by side, now this one over here is no longer centered on 0, 0. And so that means that mirror objects would not work on the design over on the right hand side. So in order to make things work out, the new mirror objects, if we go ahead and click on that up here, and now what it does is it finds the largest object that is overlapping with whatever object you've got and will mirror to that. If, for instance, you don't have anything that it's touching, here's another new feature here. We can add a turned vase, so we'll click on the vase button and bring it over here. Let's switch that to a 4x10 vase. Let's say we had a vase right here and move it up just a little bit, but it's not actually touching anything. So let's run mirror objects now. Because it's not touching anything, it doesn't know what to mirror off of, so it just says select an object to mirror from. You click OK, and you select the object, either the die or the base, click on that, and then it'll mirror on that. The last change to this is that if you hold Control while you click the button, it will let you go ahead and select what you want to begin with instead of prompting you. A reason that this is nice is, let's say we wanted to bring in some flowers here. Here we have this little daisy here. We'll import that and plop it in. Maybe rotate it a little bit. So let's say we've got this flower here on just the one side of the panel, but we want it to be on both sides of the panel. Well, what we do is select that, and holding Control this time, we will run mirror objects. It won't prompt us to do anything, but what you have to do now is select what you want to mirror on. So we'll just select the panel, and what it does is it will then mirror to that panel and not anything else. So that way you can mirror to just a specific object. That one, like I said, there are no prompts, so you just have to remember that that's how it works. You hold it down, hold Control, then run mirror, select what you want, and it will mirror to it. Okay, so that's how mirror objects has changed. The next change would be in Jpeg Export. Alright, so we've got a red option and we've got a gray option. Well, if we select this and run JPG Export, what that will do is it will export the file out to our proofs folder, which is under My Documents, and then Memorial Designer, and then Proofs. I will get to that here. Okay, so we double click on Proofs. It now shows up as 3410.jpg, and the reason for that is because it was 3410 CDR. I'm actually going to save this as a different name so that we don't overwrite our clip art. So I'll just throw this on the desktop and call it Sample Design. Click Save. Okay, so this time I'm going to do this again. I'm going to go ahead and click the JPG Export button, and then go back to our proofs folder, and you'll see that it's now created a JPEG called sampledesign.jpg. We can click on that to open it up. Nice size JPEG for us. We've changed the resolution for the outputted JPEGs. By default, the dimensions are going to be consistent with high definition. So this would be 1280 by whatever the height happens to be. Now if we actually do this again, but this time hold Control while we click JPEG Export, it will output it again, but it will do it as a high resolution image. So going back to this, one of the things it also does is it will incrementally number the designs. So instead of overriding the sample design, we now have sample design 2, and since we did it using the control key, it is 1920 instead of 1280. So it's just a higher resolution image there. Takes up a little bit more space. You can see it's 718 kilobytes instead of 348. But depending on what you're using it for, you might want something higher res, and so that gives you the option. But that also shows you here how you can continue to output these, and it won't overwrite the original like the previous JPEG export would. So I just selected the gray one here and chose JPEG Export, and now we've got Sample Design -3, and it is our gray option. And that way you can grab whichever ones you want of these and email them off to whoever you need to. Okay, so that's the change in JPEG. The next change would be a little tool called Bold. Let's say we had some text and we had it in perhaps a font that isn't meant for monuments. I know a common one of those would be Monotype Corsiva. Let's just select that font. We'll bring that down here and zoom into this a little bit. So this font's got really thin serifs. Doesn't sandblast very well, just off of the way that it's created. So what we'll do here is we'll just give it a little bit more space between each of the letters, and then we'll run bold object. And what that does is it just makes everything a bit more bold. In fact, it's 0.015 inches is how much it goes every time you click it. So if that's still not bold enough for you, you can click it again and it will go through and bold it again for you. But that way you can make objects that aren't quite bold enough to sandblast. Able to do that. Another option here, let's say we switch this to modified Roman, but this time we wanted to actually have a frosted outline letter. We can just click this frosted outline button now, and that will go and make it a frosted outline for us. We've already shown this, but there is now an Add Turned Vase button. If you click that, it'll bring in a 6x10 turned vase, and you can put that where you need to and change the sizing up here, 6x10, 4x10, 5x9, whatever you happen to want to do, and there's a nice vase for you. Okay. Next change, let's say we've got some text here. Back to how we had it set up in the settings, because we have 18 for the keyboarding commit. If I hold down Control and hit numeric 8 on my numeric keypad, it's going to up that to 1.25 instead of 1, or I can click 2 while holding Control, and that'll take it back down to an inch. Click it again, it'll go down to 3/4 of an inch. So anyway, we're at 1.25 inches here. And then we'll do our date. And I'll just type something in there. So these will shrink back down to 1 inch. Okay. Let's say we wanted to have these spaced evenly between the top of the panel and the top of this rose right here. We can select all 3 of the lines, and then we can run distribute vertically, and it gives us this cursor where all we have to do is select the top, click once, and then select the top of the flower, click again, and it will evenly distribute and space now between that and the flower. And then we can mirror that over. We've now got it on the other side as well. Another example of using the distribute horizontally or vertically. Let's say we had some sort of epitaph down here. Bring this up just a little bit, and we wanted to center this between the panel and the baseline. Well, once again, you just choose distribute vertically. You would select the panel line here and click again at the base, and now it's going to be centered between those. If we had another panel up here, just going to change my nudge to maybe 2 inches. Drop this down by 2 inches, drop this down by 2 inches. Move the whole thing up. This isn't the best example in the world, but it'll do. Say we brought in another piece of artwork here, some dogwood. If we wanted to be sure that this dogwood was centered between the edge of the stone and this panel, we could go ahead and run distribute horizontally, click on the left, click on the right, and then it would center it in between those. And we could run mirror from there and it would mirror it over to the other side. But that way we know that it's centered in between those 2 points. So that is the distribute vertically and distribute horizontally. The next thing would be adding a background. You can now click this and it will bring in a background for us. If you open up the file, which is under the MemorialDESIGNER, and then import, this is where the backgrounds are. You can open those backgrounds and change those templates to whatever you want. Maybe a cemetery picture or just something that would have your logo on it, whatever it happens to be. That'll just go ahead and import that for you rather easily. And if you hold Control while you click on that button, it will load up a secondary one. So that you can have 2 different options for that. Last of all, we've got Add Flowers. If you click on Add Flowers, it'll bring some flowers in, and you just bring them over and throw them on there, mirror them, and now you've got flowers in your design. So those are some of the updates. We've got open by number, mirror objects, Jpeg Export, bold object, frosted outline, add turned vase, distribute vertically, distribute horizontally, add a background, and add flowers. We hope you enjoy the new features and the new update, and look forward to getting you more updates in the near future.